to the Marina Skua podcast. It is grey and misty outside and I am really enjoying my cosy knitting at the moment. And so today I'm surrounded by stuff to show you and I'm really excited about lots of them. There is a project that I can't show you because I have finished it and sent it off to the publication that it is going to appear in. And that is the one with the orange rowan yarn that I was showing last episode. Really excited about that. Very happy with how it turned out. Already can't wait to get the sample back and wear it and release the pattern for you guys. I will be sharing when it is published. Yes, rambles. Good Lord, we're all over the place already. So I will start with what I'm wearing, even though I've already started with other things. This is my Boscular yoke. That's spelled B-O-S-K-U-L-A-R. And it is a yoke jumper, kind of like a mashup of inspiration from bare branches of trees in winter when you're looking up at the sky with the branches crisscrossing in front of the sky, and also like Art Nouveau spirally weirdness, and I've got more of that to show you and I'm super excited. Like, if you have paid attention to my designs over a long period of time, no problem if you don't, that's a lot to ask of anyone. But I really love Art Nouveau as a style, and it's something that just I've taken a lot of inspiration from over the years in various forms. And so I'll talk a bit more about that in a mo. No, let's just do it now. This is Boscular. It's knitted in Garfenor. The grey is their number 2. So this is an undyed Shetland. The colour is Shale, I believe. It's been quite a while. And then the green on the yoke is their Pentland, which is Romney, and the colour is Willow. And I love this design. It's one of my favourites and it just gets worn all the time. I really enjoy it and it's super fun to knit. So yes, continuing on the theme of taking inspiration from Art Nouveau in design. I showed a look at this on Instagram the other day and people were quite excited because there's a lot I want to do in knit design that's a bit like out there, and I want to make things that people are going to wear. Like, I'm very much about creating clothes that are comfortable and wearable. But also I have a slightly off-kilter taste and it's trying to like find a nice balance of those things. So this, I'm going with a very like classic silhouette combined with some fun. So this, the yarn I showed in the last episode, this is Telling Yarn's Steadfast DK. This is the colour Mrs. Coulter, really nice sort of slightly greeny blue. And then this is Meg, really nice pale green that is exactly in the colour family that I really enjoy. And I'm really enjoying working with the yarn. I knew I was taking a bit of a punt using it for colour work because I generally prefer a woolen spun yarn for colour work. Just because like woolen spun yarns tend to be really bouncy and trap a lot of air in them. And with a really sleek worsted yarn, your stitches in certain designs can end up looking really spiky and quite harsh and unpleasant. Which is not something I wanted. But this yarn it's got like quite a fuzzy halo on it. It's like, I love it. I talked about this yarn last time and why I like it so much, so I won't go into it again. But it's, you know, a blend of really nice breeds and exactly the kind of yarn that I enjoy working with, and I am so pleased with how it's knitting up. This project I started less than a week ago and it's flying off the needles, well, onto the needles, it's not off yet. So this is a design I'm working on for issue 12 of Making Stories, which will be out roughly this time next year. And it's lots of colour work. It's DK weight, so it is working up quite quickly. And also, like, this little repeating pattern is super intuitive and quick. And this panel, which I thought was going to be just a bit of a bear to keep track of, is actually quite fun and lovely. I'm thoroughly enjoying myself, and I spent ages and ages working on this chart. This is going to be a jumper, in case you can't tell. The chart will come, the panel on the front will come all the way up to the bottom of the neckline, and then the overall stitch pattern will carry on up to the top of the shoulders. And then this little repeating pattern will continue on the sleeves. And I'm having so much fun. I spent a really, really long time working on this chart, as you might be able to tell. Like, it's not a straightforward one. And I'm just really enjoying it. I'm getting very carried away with knitting it. And with a lot of projects, when I have a lot of deadline knitting on, which is very much the case at the moment, and there are a few things I can't show you, which is going to be the case for a lot of this winter, because I'm working on projects that I'm under contracts for, and all of that knit designer joy. But making stories are very lovely and let me share things with you, and I'm super excited. And if you like the look of that, and like nice swoopy designs from Marina, like the upcoming issue, so issue 11 of Making Stories, I've shown a sneaky look at a design I was working on for that one earlier this year. That will be published in March. So the next 2 issues of Making Stories are going to have like some Marina joy. So do go and take a look at what they're doing, because I love making stories. I love working with them. I've mentioned this many times before. Yes. That's that one. I am really, really enjoying it. I haven't got bored of it, which is often what happens with deadline knits. I find that if it feels like there's pressure to be working on a project, I just don't want to work on it because I'm a bit cussed like that. But that one, I'm having so much fun, and it's working up much quicker than I was expecting, which is really fun. My yarn's run away. So I have another work in progress, which is not a deadline-y. This is not a deadline-y one. I will finish it long before the latest date. I think I should probably want to have it done. This is just the first stage of a cardigan I'm making for my child. I haven't made anything for a very long time for him because it's been summer, and when last year he was just growing ridiculously quickly. So now I'm making this one a little bit big, so hopefully it will last him this winter. The pattern is Jones by Tin Can Knits. So, you know, we're working bottom up. We're gonna go like this. It's just got these, it's Jones by Tin Can Knits, but the 2 actual details on it I have changed a bit from the actual pattern. So these cables I'm doing upside down because the pattern has the cables showing like that, which I just don't think looks as nice. I prefer them that way round. That's just me. I think it's because if you plait your hair, that's the way it looks. That's the way those bits go. I've lost my words, I'm sorry. I think that's my logic for liking the way that looks more than the other way around. Very minor change because there's also the cable chart for the sleeves, which work top down. And so I've just swapped them around. There's like a chart A and chart B. They're the other way around. And so I've just used chart B where I meant to use chart A. And then the other difference is this little textury section in between the cables. In the pattern it is like double moss stitch, which in North America is just called moss stitch. So I'm using what is moss stitch here that is called seed stitch in other places. It gets very confusing. Basically, knit one, purl one, and then on the next row you purl what looks like knits and knit what looks like purls. And I prefer the way that looks, and it's also easier for me to keep track of when I'm knitting. So I'm super enjoying how this is working up. It's a DK weight yarn. It's fairly quick. I started this at the weekend, and it's just it's my weekend knitting. I've stopped working, so I'm just going to change what knitting I'm doing. Weird thing of having your work and your hobby basically be the same thing. Like, there are work knitting projects that I will do in hobby time if I'm enjoying them. But also, like, there's a lot of work stuff that I won't do in time that I specifically set aside to enjoy myself, which is very tiny pockets of time at the moment. I'm trying to get better because I have just been working a lot. I've recently made a load of updates to my website. It all looks different. If you've seen my website before, go have a look. I would just like some validation. It would be lovely. I'm really pleased with it. It's not like something I'm going to announce because you look at it and it's like, oh yeah, that's a different website. Yay. But it has been an enormous amount of work, and I've been doing loads of other stuff. A couple of weekends ago, I was at the Frome Independent. So I'm in the southwest of England. Frome is quite near to where I live. It is a nice market town. And I'm part of an organisation called Fibershed. So we have Southwest England Fibershed. And the idea of Fibersheds, if you've not come across the concept before, is a concept that was started in California, where it's the idea of like connecting up regional textiles workers and producers, so that you can create textiles within a specific geographic area. And so it's trying to join up farmers who keep sheep who are growing wool with mills and processors and people who are processing wool or other textiles. Like round here it's mostly wool because we have a strong wool tradition, but over in the States, like, I know there's a lot of stuff happening with like cotton and other fibres. And yeah, so it's trying to produce things very locally, and I'm doing some stuff involved with our local fibre shed. And we had a pitch at the Frome Independent that was kind of an educational pitch telling people about what we're doing locally and how we're hoping to like join up dots of textile development, because we used to have such a strong textile industry in this country, and just with globalization and everything, a lot of things have moved abroad, and then we've lost a lot of both skills and just machinery and commercial capability. And so there's a really encouraging trend now of like more mills being opened, more people learning skills, younger people learning skills, lots of research and development going into ways we can rejuvenate the textiles industry and get things more locally and know where things come from and care about the animals and people involved in creating things like clothes and homewares and useful products. So I was on the stand for the South West England Fibre Shed doing some demonstrations. So I took my spinning wheel and my drum carder and my hand cards and was just giving a little demonstration on how we turn sheep's wool into yarn. And it was really nice. I had some lovely conversations with people who stopped by to have a look. And it was really, really nice to see how many people were interested in what we're doing and even just were learning more about how textiles are produced. So it was really lovely just to like get out and chat to people. But it was a Sunday and I spent the whole day doing work stuff and then just like forgot to take time off the next week. And that just keeps happening. I'm trying to be better about remembering to just like chill out sometimes. Because this is the thing, when I properly love what I do and want to keep making nice stuff, but that nice stuff involves a lot of hard work and I get tired and I forget that I'm getting tired and think, why am I so tired? Small child plus incessant work does that to a person. So yes, I'm getting better. I'm trying to take my knitting out to cafes sometimes, just to be around other humans because I'm in this room a lot. That's a point actually. I'll mention that I'm in a different point in the room. Usually I'm just like over there next to the fireplace or over there on the armchair. It depends. But I'm in this corner today because I've been revamping this corner a bit. In that little alcove there, we used to have a big old bureau that was my grandma's, which I love as a piece of furniture. It's so beautiful and it's really nice to have something that's my grandma's, but it is completely useless for storage. It has very, very shallow shelves, not deep enough for a skein of yarn, which is basically my metric for how useful a shelf is. And so sadly I have taken that out and replaced it with IKEA shelves, which are the ones that I use for shows. So I will have to dismantle it every time I go to a yarn show, but I'm not going to be doing so many that that'll be a massive problem. We'll see how it goes. It's a sort of trial and error stage until eventually hopefully we can build some shelves into there. And then I've got my little board of swatches here, which is an idea I stole from Sophie, the Knit Pearl girl. I just happened to see hers on her Instagram and thought I would do the same, and thought it would be a really nice way to get rid of just like one of the many tote bags I have on that shelf. Turns out this is like a sixth of the swatches I have. So I need an entire wall for all of them, and obviously that's not something I have space for until I actually have a room that's not our living room to work in. So that'll have to wait. But in the meantime, I've got some swatches on display, which I think is quite nice. This is generally what we call the no corner. It usually has a little fence into it so that the small child can't get in and mess with all my work stuff. And also it's just full of it's usually absolute chaos. And I've just sorted things out so it's not too bad yet. So I thought I would sit over here, and it's the return of the red sofa if you have watched from way back, because this sofa is where I used to film everything in the old house. That was an unnecessary ramble about what is happening in my living room, but hey ho. Yeah, so I was talking about this cardigan. I'm really enjoying it. This is my hobby knitting time, so the time I am specifically allocating to things that I enjoy that don't have deadlines and pressure. I'm probably going to finish it fairly quickly because it's just a little thing and it's DK weight yarn, and it's very simple. And I would like it done at the latest for a Christmas present, but if it's finished before then, I'll just let him wear it because it might be chilly. We will see. Oh yes, and the yarn, not really super worth talking about. Well, it was a sample for a design that I did a while ago. I didn't like the colour of the sample, but the yarn was quite nice. So I went to over dye the sample. Garment dyeing is generally just a bit involved. And it was the first thing I dyed after maternity leave and stuff. And I basically messed it up. It just didn't work that well. And so I frogged the cardigan. So I have quite a bit of this yarn left over. And so it's just going into various projects. And I really, really like the colour it is. Just this yummy, yummy red. And I think it will look really nice on the child. So yes, he will get a nice cardigan. And the yarn, if you are interested, is West Yorkshire Spinners Bo Peep Pure, which is, I believe, a pure merino, but it's non-superwash. And it's a fairly nice yarn. It's nice and soft. I'm not a huge fan of merino, but it's nice. And it's changed dramatically. Like, I don't know how much you can see. It's quite kinky, even though I have like unwound the cardigan into skeins, washed the skeins and dried them. Because it was dyed while the garment was knitted up, it was subjected to quite high heat, like as a garment, and so that kind of set all of the stitches into the yarn. So they've kind of returned to their former shape, but there's like a little bit of lumpy unevenness that was not there in the original yarn. The original yarn was quite pristine, but now it has a whole lot more character to it, and I'm actually much more keen on it. Yes. And what can I show you next? I have a few more things. Let's do this one next. So I have received some samples that I knitted last winter. These were some of the things I couldn't show you then. And I'm going to be releasing the pattern for them myself soon. And so I thought I would show you now so you can keep an eye out for them. And so we've got ivy. It's a hat and cowl that have ivy on. I really like them. So the cowl is quite a long one, and it kind of just sits nicely like that. Obviously I would not wear this with this jumper. You can probably tell I like the green and neutral botanically inspired stuff. Yeah, ivy, big cowl and hat. And so I'm going to be releasing these as individual patterns. No, sorry, that's a lie. I'm going to be releasing these as a set, as a pattern. And mostly because it's not really worth splitting them out. Because they use the same chart and they're fairly straightforward. But I'm really, really keen on this little colourwork pattern. I think it's very nice. So I'll be releasing them as a PDF pattern. They'll go on my website and on Ravelry. And I'm also going to do little kits for the hat and cowl in my own yarn. So this yarn is, oh, I should have checked, but I'm not going to recommend it. So it's Signet something or other, and it's got some wool in it. Oh no, wait. No, it's mostly wool. It is more than 50% wool, but it does have quite a high nylon content, and it is superwash. I did not enjoy working with the yarn because I don't enjoy nylon or superwash in my yarns. And like this hat, in like a proper woolly yarn, this would be really nice, but it just feels like there isn't enough bounce and give to the edges. Also, this is a size smaller than I would probably wear for myself. And so I'm going to be putting together little kits for them in my own yarn. So here we have Mendip 4-ply, and this green is like a slightly warmer green than the one used here. But I think these will be really, really pretty. I think they'll have more stretch and bounce to them for the hat, which will be nice. And yeah, they'll be nice and cozy and woolly and fuzzy and lovely. So I think I'll have kits available with the white and green, and also with the grey and green, because grey and green. And so I will aim to get those all out next week. But as ever, it depends on how much I can fit into my days. And so, yeah, sign up to my newsletter to hear about those. I'll shove a link in the description below, and you can join my mailing list, and if you haven't joined before, you get a 10% discount code to use on your first order on my website. And it's the best way to hear about new stuff that is in the shop. So yes, these are called Et Hedera, because who doesn't love a silly botanical wordplay? So Hedera helix is the Latin for, the botanical Latin for English ivy, which is what this is. And so, Et Hedera. I'm really keen on them. Like, I know the yarn isn't really my thing, but I think it's a sweet design, and I like my planty stuff, so. So next up, I just have like a little bit of a question for you. So I recently released this one, which is Lapidarium. And I knitted this one for my husband, and I wondered if, because I think I'm going to have a tiny bit more knitting time this winter than I thought I might. We'll see how it goes. I was wondering if you might be interested in a little bit of a very informal knit along for it. So I know a few people have got the pattern already, but quite honestly, not as many as I thought might go for it. There were lots of people excited about the pattern. And I don't know if it's just because it's like the photos have it modelled on my husband, who is a man. And I know that a lot of people are just less keen on knitting for men because fundamentally fewer men are knitters and a lot of people do knit for themselves. But it is a unisex pattern, and I've got lots of photos on Ravelry of like my test knitters, most of whom are women, but some excellent versions on men as well. I have been wanting to knit myself one for a long time. And yeah, would you be interested in a knit along? I will always happily provide like colour picking support for my patterns, because I know that for some people that's difficult, or you just don't know how colours are going to look together. If you're using my yarn, I'm always happy to send photos of colours next to each other, like via email or on Instagram message or whatever. Is one of my favourite things to do. And I don't have an in-person yarn shop because that is not something I would enjoy. But I do really like helping people pick colours. So if you might be tempted to make it, but don't know what colours, just send me a message and I'll help out if I can. And I did share a couple of colour combinations I'm considering for a version for me. I'm also super tempted to do a monochrome version in just the 2 undyed colours of Mend It. So this is the 4-ply, and the jumper is knitted in the DK. But I'm really tempted to do, I don't know which way round I'd do it, whether I'd do the grey or the white as the main colour. And then, so you'd have it as with the blue and the turquoise and the white all being the same colour, and then this sludgy green that goes all the way through the yoke, have that be the contrast colour. Because you can change how many colours you actually use and just swap out some of these stripes of colour. I'm tempted to do that. But yeah, like, would you be interested in a knit along? If I think it would be fun. And you know, I'd probably just have a couple of gift cards as prizes if people wanted to take part. I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, also, if you thought that's a nice pattern but decided not to buy it for whatever reason, like, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that too. Like, slightly awkward, but I work on my own. I don't have co-workers to like bounce ideas off of and chat with and be like, hey, so like, what could we do better here? Because I think it's a super nice design. And yeah, I'd just like more people to knit it. And that's just me being completely honest about the reality of being a knitwear designer, designing stuff in your own yarn and being the only person trying to promote it. I also don't know if the fact that it was really hot when I released the pattern was a factor. Like, yeah, so I'd love to hear your thoughts if you have any. Either like leave a comment, or if you want to send me a message anywhere, like, I would love to hear from you. Yay! So, on to merry things. I have shared some of the Skua blend in the past, which is something I have created in collaboration with Wing and Wool Work. Sorry for any rustling. So this lovely blend of British wools. I'm almost ready to publish my little breed study blog post on the breeds I included in this blend. So I chose the breeds and specified like how many passes would go, like how well blended they would be within this mix, and then Wing and Wool made it up and they have it available on their website, and I'm just putting the finishing touches on a blog post on like which characteristics of each breed I was looking to include in the blend. And then for my patrons, I'm going to be doing an extended one because I sampled 9 different breeds and only included 5 of those in the blend. And so patrons will also get like the 4 breeds I ended up not choosing, but not because I didn't like them, but just because they weren't what I was going to put in the blend, and I could only have 5. So they will get a little bit of extra content there. And so I also, for my patrons, did a video of dyeing up a little sample of that, and the process for how I dye wool tops, because it's been quite a while, well, up until now, since I dyed up some wool tops, and so I wanted to create something super autumnal. And I also wanted to leave little patches of the original colour showing through. So this is just a sample I did for myself because I have a little personal stash of the fibre down there. So I will spin this up when I have finished my slightly boring grey spin, which I'm almost there. I'm like halfway through the final bobbin of singles, and then I will ply that and then the yarn will be finished. And then it'll probably be a couple of months before I knit it up because that's how I do things. But then I'm really looking forward to spinning this. And so I did a video on that process on Patreon, and I have also, now I released these last week, so most of the colours have gone. I did a little collection of limited edition colours, and so we've got this one. I'm gonna have to remember the stupidly long colour names I chose for them. I think this one was Watch the First Light of Day Roll Across the Hills. It was basically like with the colours, I went through like a day in the countryside in the autumn, and also had like, I don't know, just like, I wanted it to be cozy and quite nature inspired. So this colour was just really strongly like, you know when the days are getting shorter, so you don't have to get up quite so early to see the morning light. Because in the summer, I'm not getting up at dawn, come on. But this time of year, dawn becomes more accessible for people who like sleep. And I love that, especially when you see like layers of hills with the sunlight coming through some mist and it's all really diffuse. That's kind of what I was going for with this. And so there's this much available of this, which I think is 200 grams at the moment. And then we have 400 grams of this really nice green. And this one is Rest Beneath the Branches, the Roots Will Protect You. Again, because I like just sitting under trees. And it's just this really nice emeraldy green, and it's kind of that light that you get in an evergreen forest where it's like a cooler green. And it's sort of shady because the sun isn't able to get through. And it's just really, really calm and nice. So those are the only colours I have left, because the rest all sold really quite quickly. Again, my patrons had access to them 24 hours before everyone else. So one of the colours, a nice like autumnal orange and yellow with little bits of red. No, orange and red with little bits of yellow. And a lot of the grey showing through. That one sold out basically immediately. And so by the time I released them to non-patrons, like a fair number of them were gone already. And that is something I am doing. I've always released things, like if things have been ready a bit before they needed to be for general release, I would post it on Patreon first, so people on Patreon would have access before the public announcement. But now I've made it official that all of my patrons are getting things a day before everyone else. That's when there are limited quantities of things available. Like if it's a shop update where there is a risk of things selling out, patrons get them before other people. Because it is getting to the point that when I do limited edition things, they can disappear quickly, and it's just kind of a way of, well, my patrons deserve nice things, and so yeah. So if you like what I'm doing and want to support my business in all of its forms, then join up on Patreon. There are loads of benefits. It's great. You get extra videos and early access to stuff so that other people can feel cheated. That sounds really mean. I'm in a weird mood today. I'm sorry. I told you, I'm still quite tired. Do I have other things to show you? Have I done all of them? I think those are all the things I'm going to show you. Yeah, so I will put a link to those bits of fibre just in the description box below, and probably like up here somewhere. And yes, I will be dyeing more because I have a bag just there of undyed fibre, so there will be another update. I'm not going to put a time on it because I haven't even started dyeing any of it yet, and I have a lot of other stuff to work on before then. But yeah, so there will be another fibre update at some point in the not too distant future. If you have any particular colours you would like to see dyed on that blend, I'm trying to go for a slightly lower contrast, like really low variegation. Like this one has a little bit more, but it's still quite subtle. Like there are little lighter pops where the undyed fibre shows through. But I'm trying to keep it basically to create the kind of yarn that I like to work with, which is not super high variegation. But if there are any colours you would like to see on British wool tops, let me know and I'll see if I include it in the next batch of dyed up fibre. And yes, as I said, there's some stuff I can't show you. I've got some exciting things in the works. The hat and cowl pattern will be coming very soon. And I think they're really nice for a sort of non-traditional Christmas, as in if you want to kind of do the festive thing but don't want like Santas and reindeer on everything, you can do like a nod to festive stuff that you can also wear at like in the autumn and when it's still chilly in the spring. Like it's not, you can only wear this in December, which is the sort of thing that I just really don't like that much. Like if that's what you enjoy, then cool, that's fine. But for my personal taste, I want to get as much wear out of things as I possibly can, and I don't want them to be too tied to not a season, but like an event. And so yeah, these will be out soon and I'll have nice little kits. Green and grey and white. I'm going to stop talking now, I'm sorry. I'm going to share a little bit of a nice walk we went on at the weekend. Things are beginning to feel autumnal, but like most of the leaves are still very green. And summer is, it feels like it's just clinging on a bit. When it's misty, it's less so, but when it's sunny, it's been very hot. It's been nice to chat. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Thank you for joining me. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing in between podcast episodes, you can follow me on Instagram. I post every so often, and join my newsletter because that's where you get the scoop on stuff that's actually happening and releases and things. And if you want more Marina stuff, then Patreon is where you should be. And you don't have to like sign up and be stuck there forever. Like if you just want to give it a go for a month, then that's cool. And thank you very much for joining me. It's super nice to have you here, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.